Have you ever gotten sick on vacation? When we hit the all-inclusive beaches of Punta Cana, we had no idea that it would include salmonella.
You're listening to Travel FOMO, a podcast for people self-diagnosed with wanderlust.
Welcome to the Travel FOMO podcast. I'm Jamin and I'm here with my co-host and wife, Hilarie.
Hey, guys.
And we are excited to kick off season 4, and it is all about beaches.
The beaches. We do like a good beach. And if you guys have heard our podcast trailer, then you've heard everything that you need to know about what is about to unfold in this particular podcast episode.
Yeah, this is it. Like, we threw the trailer out there, and then now season 4, we're actually going to tell the story.
Right. Ironic. Yes. So true. It's just hilarious. We had to save it. We had to keep it. Keep holding it on. Keep holding it. Yeah.
Well, here it is.
Here it is, guys.
No more holding back, as we couldn't hold back in Punta Cana. It was a couple's trip that we're really excited to go on. And I think even now looking back, you realize how rare and difficult it is to get, because we had 5 couples all going on vacation together on like a legit vacation, not like a weekend trip, but like a legit week-long all-inclusive resort vacation.
Out of the country. Everybody needs a passport. Everybody really needs to buy into this.
Right. Yeah. And at the time, it seemed difficult at the time, but now looking back, you're like, wow, it's almost impossible to make that happen, to get that many people together to go on vacation, all agree, all be excited for it, and all actually end up there going.
Yes. I mean, you're talking about trying to get people to want to go to the same place and spend money going to certain locations or for a certain length of time. And so everybody's kind of really going to get on the same page in a bunch of different ways. And so we were really lucky. So tell everybody who all went with us.
So it was the 2 of us, our friends Jeremy and Casey Nelson, our friends Chad and Sarah, our friends Matt and Shay, and our friends Jeremy and Nicole.
Yeah.
And so, all of us, like, been friends for a while and still friends now, but it was epic to get that group together to go to on this trip.
Yeah. And it was our first all-inclusive resort, right?
Yeah. First time that we'd done all-inclusive, yeah.
Yeah. So that was, we had like really high expectations.
Yes.
And it was an interesting trip.
Yeah. We got off to a particularly kind of rough start.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
We nearly missed our flight.
Oh my goodness.
We did away from the airport parking, where we had to like catch a shuttle, and we didn't really realize the shuttle schedules, and that ended up making us a lot later than we thought we would be. And we figured like, hey, it's a Saturday early morning, so maybe the airport won't be that busy. And it wasn't that busy, but they had shut down all but like one security line.
That was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So we ended up like barely making it through, like going through security. I remember like running, like trying to put my belt on and actually physically running to try to make it to the plane.
Yeah. That was pretty crazy. And little did we know that in the state of Oklahoma, we had some other friends doing something similar.
Yeah, at a different airport, we had friends that did miss their flight.
Yes.
And
Chad and Sarah.
Yeah, Chad and Sarah missed their flight and had to come in on a later flight, which was crazy. But because we were so far behind making it to the airport, Casey's bag didn't arrive.
Yeah.
So it missed the flight and ended up having to come like way later on.
Yeah, that was a real bummer.
Yeah, it was insane. And I think on the very first day too, I think Jeremy got stung by a bee.
It's like so much happening. Yeah. Well, and on the note of luggage, I'm sure a lot of you guys listening, you have lost your luggage at some point when you're traveling. And it's really frustrating because you don't know when it will be resolved. And So here Casey is like arriving to this all-inclusive resort with a whole week or more ahead, and she doesn't know. She knows that her bag will probably arrive, but she doesn't know when.
Right.
So crazy.
Yeah.
She's got great stories too about, working out in her husband's underwear and like all kinds of stuff, like just trying to get by.
Yeah. Yeah. Those first couple of days, I think, were pretty dicey for her until the bag finally showed up.
Yep.
And then,
Yeah.
Then she had an abundance of clothes, but those first couple of days, it was limited attire.
I always try to like bring my like absolute necessities with me, like on the plane in my
Like in a carry-on.
In a carry-on. So like,
Yeah.
well, if it's beach vacation, like I would bring like my swimsuit because I'm like I am hitting the pool as soon as I get there, and I don't want to wait on my bags to arrive. So I always bring like my swimsuit and then makeup, and maybe a change of clothes, not necessarily, but yeah. I always try to think of like, okay, if I absolutely couldn't do without something, I should bring it with me. So
That's a pretty good thought. I usually don't have any articles of clothing with me in my carry-on, so maybe I need to adjust that strategy.
yeah.
But
yeah, that first night whenever we arrived, we should tell everybody the resort we went to was the Majestic Colonial. And I think it might still be around last time I looked.
Yeah, I think so. Majestic Colonial, Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. Yeah.
Yeah. And we found out about this place through Jamin's sister, Lauren. And we really had a great first night. The rooms were great. I remember us arriving and just being like, this is so awesome, because we had this huge living room. We had a massive bedroom, 2 balconies, like a balcony that was the full length of our bedroom, and then another balcony that was the full length of the living room. Then another outdoor space that was more like a patio with a hot tub. You could kind of call that a balcony too. I mean, it's kind of crazy. And then but it was kind of a rooftop patio, I guess you could say. And I mean, it was just amazing. And of course, with it being all inclusive, they had your refrigerator stocked up with drinks and stuff. So we were super excited. We were gonna go dancing, do all kinds of stuff. And oh my goodness, Sarah was such a good sport, because her and Chad were going to have a baby. She was in her second or third trimester.
Yeah, she was way, way pregnant.
Oh my goodness. And it was her first pregnancy. I mean, she was such a good sport. I cannot say that enough. And even Chad, he was so supportive of her and they were both willing to participate in everything that everyone did. But at the same time, just, kind of took things at their own pace and gave themselves grace. And it was really, it was pretty ideal the way they handled the situation. And we were just really grateful that they came at all, because most people would probably say like, no, not right now. It's not a good time for us,
Yeah. After we had planned it, and then, finding out that like she was pregnant and like they're starting their family, it was their first kid.
Yeah.
And, I thought, man, there's just no way that they'll be able to make it, but they stuck it out, and they came, they showed up. It was awesome of them to go that effort to still make it happen for everybody.
It really was. But yeah, that first night, super fun. Great memories of that first night. And then of course, things progressed, and one of the things that people get so excited about at all-inclusive resorts are the meals.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was the first time we'd done all-inclusive, and the first time that we had really paid like a good amount of money for a vacation. I feel like every other vacation that we had done up till this one had been like, how can we cut corners? How cheaply can we get by? And this one we were like, we want to go to a nice place and get a nice room. You talked about our room. Like, we had this great suite, and we were so looking forward to the food. And we were, working out hard and dieting, getting ready to go on this vacation. So it was like, we're going to go on vacation, be able to eat whatever we want.
Yeah. We saw pictures of the food, and it all looked so amazing.
Right. Like all the restaurants and the buffets and all that kind of stuff. And like on the surface and the execution, like the food was phenomenal. Like, it looked great.
Yeah. And it tasted good.
Yeah, it tasted really good too. And, you go to breakfast and there's this huge buffet, or you could order stuff, or omelet stations and all these things. Waiters that would come by. I remember in the dining room for breakfast, I feel like there was 1,000 people coming by with coffee and milk. And it was just cafe, leche, like every 2 seconds.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a coffee person. I was like, yes, please, right here.
Yeah, you were never lacking for coffee and milk at that point. Cafe, leche. So I can still hear it ringing throughout like the breakfast buffet. But by the time that it was all said and done toward the end of the week, the only things that we were eating were like bread and rice.
Yep. Yeah. I think I did some omelets, like some thoroughly cooked stuff that I knew was okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like no fruit. That had been like the highlight for me at the beginning, was all this extravagant fruit.
Right. Well,
so many
that
things.
First night, I think like we went out to dinner, like ordered up, and we even I think we might have gone to a buffet, and I got some like sushi and stuff like that. Like you said, we went out dancing, and late night we had burgers.
Yeah, we did.
And they tasted so good, but everybody got so sick.
So sick. And it was partially food, but partially water, ice.
Yeah, and we weren't drinking the water.
Oh, that's right. We knew better than to drink the water. We knew not to drink
the water, but I think the ice that they were putting in the drinks was something tore everybody up. And I mean, food would go through you instantly.
Yeah.
And people would just disappear.
It'd be like,
right, like
so-and-so must have left.
there wasn't time to say, oh, excuse me, guys, I'm gonna run, I'll be right back. No, there was none of that. You would just, when it hit you, you just turned and ran to the nearest restroom. And if you swallowed a piece of gum on your way into that bathroom, it was coming out like 30 seconds later.
Oh,
that is how fast stuff was going through you.
Yeah.
And I just, it was so
we think
bad.
It was salmonella, right?
Yeah, we think it was salmonella. I know Matt and Shay did a little bit better than everybody else, but they had gotten some meds, I think, to take.
Yeah,
before they came.
Maybe some antibiotics or something that their doctor had said, okay, if you're traveling here, be sure and take these, which major tip for listeners.
Yeah.
If you're going somewhere to another country, you might talk to your doctor about if there are certain things you can do or medicine you can take that will help counter anything that might hit your system and really have a negative impact.
Right. Well, and it was so bad. And I remember going to the gift shop, and the only food for purchase was in the gift shop, and we're actually paying $10 for a bag of Cheetos. Just to have something that you knew wasn't potentially contaminated. It was so bad. Well, and remember Jeremy Nelson got so sick that he had to have an IV.
Yeah.
We're going to meet for dinner, and it's well, Jeremy's not coming to dinner. You guys go on, because he's got he's at the doctor right now, the campus doctor, the resort doctor. And they gave him an IV, which I couldn't believe. I was like, you let some resort doctor in Punta Cana put an IV in you? There's no telling what you got out of that. But it was just so bad. Everybody was so sick. And the rooms, the toilet in each room was in this little bitty stall. It was the size of a phone booth that they had put a toilet in. And we started referring to them as the poo dungeon, because it was just this, the door would close right in front of you, and you were just in this fortress of pain.
Yeah. And this is TMI for a lot of people, but you guys, we were crapping black tar for weeks. It was so bad. I was sick for a really long time. And I mean, Nelson tells the story of him going to the doctor so well, because he talks about how he he's getting this IV, we talk about being like a World War II era IV, like it's like everything is like going back in time, and he's like sitting on this, what would you call it, an exam table, but it's really like a child-size exam table, and he's just like, oh my gosh.
I wouldn't be surprised if there weren't like chickens running around in there and stuff. Like
The resort was nicer than that.
The resort was nice, but everything was also open air. The rooms had air conditioning, but everything else was open air, and that also made it, when you're feeling sick and like it's hot anyway and really humid, like you're just sweating like crazy.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, some of us, we'd really taken precautions, because even when I was making myself coffee in the morning, I would use bottled water. Like, I requested so much bottled water to be delivered to the room. And I think there was still enough ice in drinks, especially frozen drinks. If you order a frozen drink, it's made with ice.
Yeah.
So it's probably not made with our bottled water. And so there's just so many different things that it could have been. Even them just washing the food in water. I don't know. There's no telling. There's so many.
It was bad news bears.
Bad news bears.
But we did have a lot of fun, other than
Yes.
the eating and the subsequent result from eating.
Exactly. Trying not to eat was like the goal. So we were like swimming. Oh gosh, we have a hilarious picture. We'll have to post this on social media. She brought this floaty, and she was really proud. She got this like $1 floaty, and she packed it away, and we're like, oh cool, yeah, we'll have like this floaty. And you see this image on the front of this package, and it's got this floaty like in the water, and it looks like something you would lay on with a little headrest and all that. Oh no, this $1 floaty ended up being the size that you would put like a Barbie doll on.
Yeah, it's like an armrest, basically.
It was so small. Oh, it's like 24 inches long. We just cracked up about that. We have this hilarious photo of her like holding it up and laughing. But there was fun things to do. Like they have all kinds of activities for people at these kinds of resorts. A foam party, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There were swim classes, which I remember taking one of the swim classes, which is fun, but then also like I felt like a little bit on display. It's kind of a weird thing. Like you're in the middle of this pool where the whole resort is surrounded around. It's just, kind of surrounds this pool, and then you're all jumping around in it and you're swimsuit. I was like, oh, okay. But then volleyball, obviously dancing. We did some massages. That was when we really got hooked on doing massages on vacation.
That's right. Yeah.
It was our first couples massage, and it was pretty nice.
The first massage that I ever got was that one. Yeah.
It was really nice. And then yoga. Oh man, Case and I, we did yoga with a local instructor. So one time there was yoga on the beach, and it was lovely. Totally recommend it. But then we also did it another time, and it was inside this little hut. And it was really hot. And ironically, like the guy that was our yoga instructor, it was just me and Casey and this guy in like a sweater. And I mean like a sweater that you would like a sweater made of yarn. Like
he's going to a Christmas party after
he's going to a Christmas party afterwards. But it was really tight and maybe a little short. And so it's pretty funny. But so we got our he was really fun too, and he was trying to get us to do all these crazy things. And I think he was even trying to like lift us or like do like a pyramid with us or something like that, but we ended up taking pictures and stuff with him. That is pretty funny. But they have all kinds of activities like that to do together, and it makes it fun and a little different. I think you and I even went kayaking at some point, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, they had like kayaks that you could check out, and that was fun. We did that. When you're planning a trip, what are the tools you use? Have you ever thought about a better way? To plan more efficiently, to save money, optimize time? We all have some kind of limits on our resources, time, money, energy. Let's find a way to make the most of them. Let's find a way to help each other take the best possible memories with us when we head home from our journey. If your product does that, let's get together and share it here. as far as like off the resort, we really only left once, and you didn't even leave the resort, but we did. The guys went deep sea fishing. Another thing that we were like super excited about.
Another great story.
Yeah, we were like crazy excited. We had booked it, and we just knew that we were going to go out and catch a huge fish, that the local news was going to get called to come like record us and talk about like what masters of the sea that we all were.
Yeah.
And Matt was smarter than the rest of us because Matt didn't go fishing. Like, he stayed back. But the rest of us went. So me, Miller, Nelson, and Chad, we all went deep sea fishing. And they came, picked us up at the resort. They were really nice. Took us to a marina, and we got on this boat, and we're walking down the dock, and there's all these huge boats. And we're like, maybe that's our boat. Maybe that's our boat. Maybe that's our boat. Maybe that's our boat. And then we come to this boat that's like, it was still a good sized boat, but it was like, oh, okay,
that's what we're trusting out.
We'll go out on that boat. And so we get on the boat, and the ride out of the marina is great. You're seeing all these homes and all this stuff, and it's really pretty. And then we just, you head out to open ocean, and the further out we get, the rougher it is, and the higher the waves get. And we start literally getting in these waves that are up higher than the boat. So you're up over the top of the wave, and then like kind of crash down, and waves are coming up over the front of the boat, and we're kind of up on the top of the boat. And it was really, really rocky. And Miller and Nelson both start getting sick. So they go to the lower part of the boat, and they're chumming the water over the side of the boat. And at one point I look over, and Nelson is getting sick over the side of the boat, and Miller is just like gently like patting his back. Aww. Just like gently trying to like comfort him and pat his back. And Chad and
Miller knows. He's like, yeah, this sucks, man.
Yeah, they're consoling each other. Chad and I are up above, and like the waves aren't really making Chad sick, but they're making him really tired. So Chad just like lays down and goes to sleep. So we're out in the ocean, and we're probably like 30 minutes in. We get the first fish on, and they call me down, and I go first, so I reel in the first fish, and it's a pretty small fish. I mean, a big fish for like a pond in Oklahoma or Texas, but a really small fish for the ocean. And so it's like, okay, that's the first one. First one's on. Here we go. For the next 3 hours, we just drive in circles around the ocean with the guys getting sick down below, Chad sleeping above, and me and the boat captain and the first mate, both of whom really only speak Spanish, we're just riding around in waves.
Oh my gosh.
And it just beating the crap out of us. Finally, at the very first opportunity where the boat captain kind of gives me this look of like, what do you think? I was just like, wrap it up. I was like, wrap it up. Let's head back.
We're done.
Yeah. So we go back. It was brutal. I think we have a picture of the four of us standing on the dock after, like holding the one little dinky fish that we caught.
We'll have to post that.
It was the worst.
Well, so did you never get sick? Did you never get sick?
I never got sick. So it didn't make me sick. But the other guys did, and it was brutal out there. The waves are really high. Granted, I've never been out on the seas before, so I'm sure there's much, much worse. But it was pretty rough, pretty choppy, pretty windy, and just like that motion, and it just wouldn't stop.
Yeah. What do you think I would have done? Do you think I would have been Chad? I feel like I might would have just like fallen asleep, because that always happens. any form of transportation, I'm out.
I think you would have just insisted that we go back right away.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have gotten very far, and you would have been like,
I'd been dramatic.
you'd
You'd been
been like,
we're done.
No, I don't want to.
It's
do
over.
this.
It's over. Well, I'm glad you made that like executive decision on behalf of everyone.
Yeah.
You're like, no.
We wrapped it up. We wrapped it up a little early and headed back because
But not early enough.
No, not early enough. I would have much rather have paid someone else an exorbitant amount of money to just like kick my butt and let me stay on land. But I'm wrong. Like we did leave. So the guys left the resort to do deep sea fishing, but then we all left together. We went on another excursion.
That's right. We did. So I did leave the resort briefly. Well, for the day, kind of. And this was one of the most fun days on the trip. Although we never had the heart to tell Nelson and Casey because they really had a hard time that day.
Yeah, we all kind of swore ourselves to secrecy.
Yeah, so
to
they
not
might,
tell them
when they
about
hear
this
this
day.
podcast, they might find out that we actually had a lot of fun that day.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Because Nelson was still attached to the World War II era IV.
Yeah.
So he was in the, the child-sized doctor's office and like
with
the chickens and still, receiving medical care. And Casey was really selfless and that she stuck with him. I don't know that you and I would have done that. I think one of us would have been like, are you good? Okay, I'm going to go get on a catamaran with my friends.
See you later.
We would do that now, though. We're super tight now, so we would like stand by each other. But I think at the time we would have been like, I don't know. I kind of want to go on this catamaran cruise. But we went on a catamaran cruise with everyone, and that was it was pretty amazing. It was not just our group though. So with your excursion, it was literally just the guys.
Right, just the four of us.
Yeah, and this catamaran cruise was more of it was a much bigger boat and a lot more people on there.
Right.
And we stopped somewhere and had a meal at a restaurant, and then there was a lot of dancing on the boat, and I think we've got some great video clips of Shay just like dancing it up on the boat, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Except
we snorkeled a little bit and then went to that private beach.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah.
We went to a private beach?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, remember like we went out and we had dinner or lunch. We had lunch at the dock. We got on the catamaran and went out and went by all those houses and like the water was really pretty. We went out and snorkeled. And then we went to that private beach. We stayed on that beach. I think you've got pictures of you in a hammock on that beach.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I have the best memory.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
like a steel trap.
That's why I take pictures of nearly everything because I forget nearly everything. Oh, that is so right. Yeah, that was a really beautiful day.
Really pretty beach, and like the water was really still because it was pretty shallow, a long ways out. Sand was really nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really nice. But it was a really great day. The lunch I thought was really amazing. It was one of the first lunches that didn't make me sicker.
You weren't just sitting there in terror, wondering like, what's this going to do to me?
Although it was bad. Recently, I was chatting with Shay and Sarah and Casey, and Shay was reminding us how rough it was to have to keep going to the bathroom on that boat, that catamaran. Like it was not great because all of us were sick and we were just taking turns in that bathroom because we were all so sick. It was crazy.
It really was
so crazy. Yeah, and it really lasted the whole trip.
Yeah, I mean, even going home, even though like. Obviously, after you start getting sick, you start limiting what you eat, and then by the very end, I was eating next to nothing. Yeah. Because I knew like we're gonna have to fly home, and I was like, surely if there's nothing in my system, then there's nothing to process. I can't be constantly running to the bathroom, but that's not true. Like even up to like we're in the airport. Run into the bathroom in the airport, and I'm thinking, there's no way I'm going to make this I think it was a 4.5 hour flight back home. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to survive this plane ride. And I remember sitting in the airport and just being so sick and so like tired. And at that point, you're dreading this flight. You've been dreading it for a day and a half because you know what it means. And then they march us out onto like the tarmac to get on the planes and make us stop. And we're all standing in the sun, like feeling sick. And I was like, this is just going to make it worse. Like, anything that's left in my system is just now cooking in the sun on this tarmac, and we're going to have to get on this plane.
I mean, literally, you're just thinking like, go, 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 move people, move, 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 move. Like, it was so bad. And then even if it went away for a second, it would come back. And yeah, that was really hard. I remember standing on the black tarmac and thinking, I don't know if I can get on this flight.
I think there were serious conversations that we had the night before about whether or not you could buy an adult diaper, and if something were to happen on the plane, what the best scenario is for that.
Casey was threatening to do that. Yeah, that was like, she was very near searching the airport for an adult diaper. Yeah, that's so crazy. But the one thing that did help, kind of going back to like the things at the resort, we really started limiting ourselves on what we would eat and drink. But one of the things, we started explaining that our stomachs were hurting, and because they would come up, and like the wait staff and different people would ask you for something, you'd be like, no, my stomach. And this one bartender, he goes, I can't remember exactly what we would say, but he'd be like, boom, boom. And we'd like pat our bellies and be like,
No, that's what he would say. You were like, oh, we're not feeling great. And he was like, oh, boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then he would make a special shot for us that would actually help your stomach. And so I remember like I would go up periodically and be like, boom, boom. And he would make the same shot and we'd take it. And it did help. It just didn't solve the problem long term.
Right. So. Yeah. It was Campari. It was like Campari and soda.
That's what it was.
And so it would kind of help settle your stomach a little bit. But yeah, just brutal. And I remember us thinking like, okay, if the flight's on time, we'll get back to the airport. We'll have enough time to go to Charleston's, which is like a restaurant that we love.
Oh yeah.
And we're like, at least we could go to Charleston's and get some good food and like get some good food into us.
Right.
And that would make it better. But by the time that we got back to the airport and then that stinking shuttle again got us back to our car.
That's right. It was that same shuttle.
Yeah. That shuttle that cost us in the beginning came and got us right at the end. Because we didn't have the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were willing, like we were so hungry for Charleston's. We were like, we will drive all the way, because there's the only Charleston's that we have in our area. We're from Oklahoma, and there's a lot of them in Oklahoma. But in the Dallas area, the only one you can go to is in Fort Worth. And we were going to drive from DFW Airport out to Fort Worth.
Yep.
And then back home to Dallas, because we were willing to do that to get some legitimate food that we knew is consistently amazing. And we were pretty bummed about that. We were bitter.
Yeah, that was rough. And the symptoms lingered. I mean, it was a couple of weeks later before everything was like, okay, I'm back to normal. I'm fine. I'm not a little worried at all times of like, am I going to have to readjust and run?
It's so funny. I don't know if our listeners really expected that. We should put a disclaimer at the beginning that it was like, if you are sensitive to poo talk. Yeah,
there's a lot of poo in this episode.
There's a lot of poo talk in here, so if you're sensitive to it, you might not want to continue down this path. Oh my gosh, it was just such a huge part of our trip there. It's pretty funny though.
Yeah, so those all-inclusive resorts, they might include a little bit more than you thought.
That's right. But honestly, the trip was worth it just for the stories that we got. Yeah. And, I don't know. You would never even know all of this if you look at the pictures. And honestly, speaking of pictures, we have so many good ones.
There are good ones from that trip.
We mentioned a couple. We're going to get those out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. You guys can find those photos there. So.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure a lot of you have been to all-inclusive resorts.
Yeah.
So if you have, let us know your recommendations. Tell us where we should go. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and hook up with us there.
Yeah. And if you enjoyed today's episode, do us a quick favor and rate and review. Go ahead and just, throw in a 5-star review. That'd be great. And you can subscribe to the Travel FOMO podcast. You can do that from wherever you're listening. And of course, you can learn more about the two of us on our website, and that is travelfomopodcast.com.
That's right. And in our next episode, we're going back to the United States, but staying on the beaches. We will be in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Great place.
Yeah, it's super family friendly too. So there's some good stuff there. We hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. We love traveling and sharing these stories because we know that life is short.
Wander well.